and what's up, everybody? And welcome back to the Sean Lowery Show, entrepreneur podcast, business podcast, conversation podcast. Whatever happens here, we're having fun. I have a cool guest today, Peter Krause, a former cop, now entrepreneur. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, Sean. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on the show with you.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about you, which I kind of enjoy sometimes going into a podcast. I started following you on Instagram recently, and you seem like a cool guy. I know you're in the Patrick Bet-David world a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I want to talk about that because I had him on my podcast. That's my most viewed podcast so far. My biggest hit yet. Of course, he brings the views because I know he's the man.
It's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it was awesome to have it on. It was so cool to talk to him. And it was. I learned a lot from him. And it was my most viewed. I had the most fun with it. He's just he really brings the energy. I love that guy. But we'll get to Pat. But so you, right in your profile, right on Instagram, says former cop turned entrepreneur. So how long were you a policeman?
I was a police officer for 3 years.
3 years. Okay. That's not like a 20-year career or something, but still plenty of time to get to know it.
Exactly.
Where was that? Where are you now? And where were you a policeman?
So I still live in Orange County with the family.
Orange County, okay.
Yeah. And
I have family there.
Oh, do you? Where are you from, Sean?
I'm currently in Charleston, South Carolina.
Got it.
But I'm more of a Philly guy. I'm from Philly. I moved here about 5 years ago to get out of the snow. And so I'm from Philly.
Nice.
And I live in Charleston, but I've been to Orange County a lot. I have family out there. I know it's beautiful. Do they like the cops there?
That's a touchy subject. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're very
saying.
supportive of our police department.
All right, that's a good answer. I know just California's crazy. I've had a couple of people on my podcast that have left California, and I know a lot of people are talking about how California is like just getting overrun with like homeless people and taxes. Do you have any insight on that?
I'll take my kids to the local park. It's literally right across the street, and you'll see the homeless and all kinds of people there at the park, and they're riding their bikes through the neighborhood. So me and my wife have even thought about moving out. But man, I don't know. It's kind of tough to leave your hometown, and I have my mom here still too. So, got to be there for the family. So, it's still up in the air, but for now we're here.
Very understandable. Tough to leave the hometown, the mom, and that's like one of the most desirable weather places in the world. It's beautiful. Like, it's California. Come on. Like, out to the West Coast, out for vacation, people go there. So I get it. Maybe California can figure it out. But so, yeah, you're 3 years as a cop. Like, by the way, cop, is that like a derogatory term? Sometimes I say cop and I'm like, I said policeman. Is that a thing, or I'm trying to be polite here?
No. That's totally acceptable. Police officer, cop. I guess cop is just like the quick little term that you.
What is cop? What is that? What does that mean? What is cop?
You know what, Sean? That's a really good question. I've never looked into it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who
so
made
random,
it, right? I don't know.
But yeah, so you had some. What made you? How was your experience as a cop? And like what made you kind of leave to kind of start your own thing? Like what was that like?
Well, being a police officer, being a cop was very, very exciting. And to be honest with you, that's not what I wanted to do. I've always known that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and be my own boss. But my father actually, so my parents, they migrated from the islands of Samoa back in the early 80s. Are you familiar with any Samoans?
Yeah, the Samoans. Like that is out in like Polynesia area, right?
There you go, buddy. There you go.
I've been to Bora Bora before on a fancy vacation.
It's beautiful out there. How'd you like it?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's really
yeah, it was great. And I actually just got married like a week ago. And,
you did?
I did, yeah.
Congratulations,
I got my ring on my finger.
Wow, welcome to the club.
We haven't taken a honeymoon, but we were thinking of going to Hawaii. But I'm as familiar as anyone with the area over there, the Polynesians. I'm on point there, right?
Yes, you are. You are.
And your parents came here before they had you?
Yes.
Okay, first generation.
First generation. My father, obviously, when people come from the islands or people migrate here, they come here for the American dream, right? And so my father, being a manly man, being a protector and provider, he's like, you know what? we moved here. I want my son, to have his hand, I want him to be a police officer, a fireman, something like that, right? Public safety, helping people. So my father, right when I graduated high school, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what route I wanted to take, right? So I was messing around a lot, Sean, going out there, getting into trouble, racing cars, just a bunch of mischief. So my dad's like, hey, either you get your shit together and you go to school and you take it serious, or I want you to go test to be a police officer. And I was like, wow, go to school or be a cop. What am I going to pick? I was over school, man. School is not for me. So I tested, long story short, I got accepted, passed the academy and everything. And it was fun, man. I was 23 years old running the streets as a police officer. Me and my buddies, I had a couple buddies in the police department with me. And, we're working the night shift. So as you can imagine, all the mischief happens at night. When you're young, you want that graveyard shift, right? So we're out there, kicking down doors and seeing what we can get into. So it was fun. Now, here's the part, Sean, where, my story takes a twist, is that there's a lot of politics out there, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's starting to come out now where it's like, the trust between the cops and the community, and then there's like corruption in police departments. I'm not saying any names. I'm not saying that was the case there specifically, right? I got to still be politically correct. But yeah, I would say that a little bit of immaturity on my part and a lot of politics had to play with why I was forced to take a different path.
Oh, would you have stuck with it, do you think, if everything would have went smoother? You wanted to be an entrepreneur. I mean, a cop is an honorable job. By the way, Brandon looked it up. Cop comes from the verb take or seize. It's derogatory in England. Okay.
Okay, so let's just.
If you wanted to know, whatever. Yeah, whatever. But it's not an entrepreneurial job. It's an honorable job. But you said you wanted to be an entrepreneur, right?
Always, brother. I always wanted to, I guess you could say, be my own boss. Now that I'm dead smack in the middle of here, I see that you're never really your own boss, because when you're an entrepreneur, you're there to serve the people, right? You're there to provide value. You're there to provide content. And yeah, man, you're there to make a difference.
I hear you. But you said it was entertaining and exciting to be a cop?
Bro, it was fun. It was so much fun.
Okay, that's interesting, because I don't know. I've never been a cop, and you see movies and you hear the stories, and there's all the conversation now about pulling out your gun and all those rules. Yep. But sometimes I just think that I feel like there's a lot of cops who never had to even use their gun their whole career, 40 years. I don't know. Maybe that's more in like Montana or in the middle of nowhere. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like a suburban cop might have an easy life or something like that. But your experience was exciting, entertaining, and always something to do and something to chase.
Always something to chase. I never had to, discharge my firearm or anything like that. But I got into my scuffles as a cop. Car chases, foot pursuits. I did everything, man. It was a lot.
Do you know anyone that had to whip their gun out?
Yeah. So actually, when I was, done being a cop, maybe like that was in 2010. In 2012, a good buddy of mine who's still there as a police officer now. He actually, had to fire his gun. So really
scary,
crazy
man.
experience. Something to have a couple beers over and be like, dude, what were you feeling? How was that?
Yeah.
So it's good time to talk about it and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm no wimp, but I've never really like shot a gun or had a gun. And I kind of feel like I respect the Second Amendment, and I like respect the fact that the citizens should have guns and stuff. But I'm kind of like, all right, as long as everyone else has it, I'll be safe. Like I'm good. But I think it'd be like, definitely an adrenaline rush to just like always have one. But so you moved on from being a cop, had a fun experience with it. Was there any skills that cross over from being a cop to kind of being more an entrepreneur, more in business, or are they very different things? Absolutely.
And that's a really great question, because that's something that I also share with new entrepreneurs that come into our organization here with Patrick and David's firm. I learned how to talk to people and ask the right questions, because when you pull up to a scene, you're not there you're there to find out what happened before you got there. And you're only going to find out what happened if you ask the right questions and find the right people. That have the intel that's going to help
a little bit of detective work is what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. And that's just logic, kind of understanding, right? Like you said, asking the right questions, being able to read people a little bit.
Yeah, it's tonality.
Okay. Right. And you don't want to, give away everything you're thinking, but also try to get stuff from them. Okay. That's kind of sales. And also, so that's the skill that crosses over. Wow.
You would have made a great cop, Sean.
I think so. I actually would have, I think I maybe in theory, but I hate getting people in trouble, man. I mean, I have 15, 16 employees. I just had to fire one of my big employees. But just with like, if someone was like underage drinking, I just would not be able to get them in trouble. I just would be like, I don't care, man. I actually got in trouble a lot with the cops when I was in college. Just like disorderly conducts, like some underage drinking. Just I don't know. And it's funny because every time I acted like a punk to the cops, like, oh, officer, I'm not causing any harm to society, I got in trouble. And then as I got older and I got pulled over a couple of times, I was just much more respectful because I mean, I got a little smarter, but also, I mean, I also learned to respect the fact that law enforcement is doing good to the community. I'm not stupid. Like, so I was just a little more respectful. And I just noticed that when I'm more respectful, it went a lot better for me.
Exactly. It goes a long way.
Yeah. And I think, yeah. And, like, that's something that's going on now with like, there's like people that are like scared of the cops or think the cops that are bad people. Like they're not, right? Everyone's there to protect the community.
They are. I'll tell you this. You know, for all the bad cops, there's 5 times more good cops out there.
That's it? Oh my God, that's it? You're saying 20% of the cops are bad?
Hey, from my personal experience, like I said, I'm not dropping names, but there are some people out there that I know that are still doing it that I wouldn't reelect them if there was a vote. So I'll just say that.
What are they, racist or something?
No, it's a little bit of that, but there's a lot of corruption in the police force nowadays, Sean. And actually, it's been around like that. Where did they get the ideas for movies, right? They knew someone.
So corruption would be meaning like they want to charge a certain amount of people for this crime to make a certain politician look better, or like what would be some broad type of corruption that would affect like a police on the street?
I'll give you an idea. So as we know, there's a lot of underground gambling. There's a lot of underground, I'll say sales, right? You know what kind of sales I'm talking about?
Drugs probably.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're there as a police officer for so many years and you're like, dude, I keep busting this person and they keep, they get out eventually. And then their little minions are here and it just multiplies and it grows. Well, why not tax them? Why not tax them?
Okay.
And, I'm speaking from knowing things, right? And again, I'm not here to snitch. I'm not here to rat anybody out, but
say their name.
It's out there, Sean. It's out there.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, I already tried so many times. It doesn't seem to be working. Just give me damn 15% or something like that, and I'll stay off your back. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, I mean, I've seen the movies. That's cool though. But so you work. You're a PHP guy.
Yes.
All right. So I think that's interesting because I know Patrick Bet David, and I know him from Valuetainment, and I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own company, an e-commerce company. Like I said, 15 or 16 employees. We sell products online. We ship it out, and business is going well. And I love Patrick Bet David. And when I actually got him on the podcast, I think I got in a database. I had a few people hit me up from PHP, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But one question that I asked him when he was on my podcast that he didn't really give me a direct answer for was, tell me what you think. What do you think the percentage of the time breakdown is that he spends on PHP versus, I guess, his whole Valuetainment thing? Because those are two separate entities, right?
It is. Yep. Completely
so
separate.
Like all you guys who are PHP people and the insurance and all that stuff, like there's nothing to do with Valuetainment. I'm sure you guys may probably listen to it and everything like that because it's entrepreneurial, but it's not connected, right? What do you think a breakdown of time is between the two things?
Man,
if you had to guess.
I'll tell you this, right? There's levels in anything you do in life. There's levels, right? Patrick is a machine. And to be honest with you, I can't even put a time frame on what he spends on PHP and what he spends on Valuetainment because there's also other things that he does. So basically, I think Patrick probably takes 2 hours of sleep every night, and then he's back at it because of all the different projects that he's working on. So I can't give you an accurate read on it.
Okay.
But I know
do you think he's kind of built up PHP and now like is he the main leader? I'm sure there's a lot more management and leadership, right? Like is he the head person of it, or is there somebody else who is the, I don't know, CEO, president, who's like in charge of all the day-to-day operations?
Yeah, so PHP, we're now at a point where we're scaling and we're growing and we've hit the next phase. So Patrick McDavid currently is our founder, our CEO. I don't know if you've spoken to our newly appointed CDO, Matt Sapaula, Money Smart guy. Have you looked at any of his content?
No, Brandon's shaking his head that he has, but no, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, so Matt Sapaula is an amazing guy, and PHP's been in existence for a little over 10 years now, and obviously Patrick has so many things that he wants to do. Maybe venture off and do start other businesses, go out there and help other businesses expand. But then Matt Sapaula is someone that I guess
He's in charge. He's in charge now. He's running it now.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
And
cool.
he's an amazing leader, former staff sergeant in the Marine Corps, so someone who's very well respected.
Awesome. That's really cool. Were you there when Kobe Bryant came?
I was sitting front row. My wife and
Front
I.
row.
Yes,
R.I.P. Kobe.
that's right.
Damn, that's so cool, man. So that I remember that was actually even talked about on, I think it was Sports Center or something on ESPN, where they referenced the fact that I think Kobe said that like Shaq was a fat, lazy piece of shit or something like that. And it was funny. And he was like, yeah, I told it to his face all the time. But they just said like at an event, Kobe said like that was huge. And he made some news from it. So like the point of that was, what are you? Are you like an agent, a rep? Like what would you define yourself as? Are you? I don't think you're an employee of the company, are you?
No, we're all independent contractors.
Like 1099
yes.
contractors. Okay.
Yep. My wife and I are actually brokers, soon to be senior brokers for PHP Agency. So I guess you could say that we're one of the field leaders for PHP
Okay.
Agency. And we run our own office out here in Long Beach, California.
Awesome. You have your own office. Cool. And so why does he get those speakers? I think I know it was Kevin Hart and Kobe, and I'm pretty sure he paid for them. And like that is for you guys. Or for him or both, or like what is his whole reason for having like bringing in a big speaker? I think he does it yearly, right?
Yes. So we have it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the reason for that?
I think it's two things, right? One thing is for us, to reward us for all the hard work that we're doing to help scale our company. But then in a sense too, it helps with marketing. It helps us to attract other people who are now like, wow, that's a pretty valid platform if you
Yeah.
can get speakers of that quality. Because what you guys don't see, I'm not sure if you knew this, but President George W. Bush actually spoke at our event too.
I've never seen the footage of it, but I remember him mentioning that. That's cool.
Yeah. It was crazy, bro. So it was an annual convention, and we had like metal detectors. We had Secret Service in the crowd disguised as agents. I'm serious, bro. I am serious. We
That'd be a
had
fun job.
super like high level security where everybody
Right.
had to get checked. Because we have a former president there speaking, and he was right there on stage in front of us. So it was a once in a lifetime thing.
That's pretty cool. You think you'll get Trump to come speak one day?
Man, I don't know. I'm not sure. If the level of security was like that for President Bush, oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on if we had President Trump. So
George W, man, he's not really in the news too much anymore.
yeah,
But he used to be like on Saturday Night Live, and like I remember when he was president, I was a lot younger, wasn't paying attention to politics. But he has so many funny quotes. You ever
He
seen him be
does.
like, I put the food on the family. Like there's like every like once a year on YouTube there'll be like a highlight reel of like funny George Bushisms, and I always watch it, and it's just so funny. I'm sure like those are just the funniest things he said, but he's actually my now wife, I'm getting used to saying wife, she watches with me sometimes.
better get
She's like,
used
"Oh,
to it, buddy.
I'm getting used to it. I feel I don't like it that much. I don't like saying wife that much, to be honest. Not that I'm not proud of the marriage and everything. It's just like I want to be like my chick. Like I'm still getting used to the whole like married man
Transition, right?
because I'm kind of wild. Yeah, like I don't want to be like have this stereotype of like I'm a married man now. I go by the book and I go to church and I follow the rules. I'm all about family. I'm still trying to keep my wild edge.
I think me and you would get in a lot of trouble together if we knew each other back in the day, Sean.
For sure. What about now? I'll still get in some trouble now.
Oh man, I can't, bro. I'm retired. I hung that jersey up.
You're retired from being a crazy man?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm not retired, man. I'm just getting started.
It's all good. You got a fan in me, buddy.
Actually, as an entrepreneur and as somebody who's like kind of building up my personal brand, my business is going great. One of my goals has been, as I get married, as I eventually maybe have a kid, I want to stay like crazy. Like I'm very responsible. I go to the gym every day. I actually ran a 5:33 mile this morning at 5 a.m.
Are you serious?
It was on the treadmill.
Props.
So it's a little easier on the treadmill, but it was like the mile challenge.
5:33.
And yeah, 5:33. I was booking it. I was just like, this is over yet. I was sprinting. So I was sprinting. But I'm very responsible. I work all the time. I actually moved away from my friends and family in Philly to kind of focus on the business here. Respect. And I'm responsible. I take care of myself. I take care of my body, but I still want to like be crazy as far as like taking risks. I don't want to become comfortable and not take risks. I want to continue to take risks as I get older because I feel like a lot of people, they get a steady job, they got a family, and they're like, I don't want to take any risks. I don't want to put my family at risk. All I care about is the happiness of my kids. And I'm like, all right, I'll care about that too, but I don't want to ever lose my craziness. And I've been saying that for years. And now that I'm actually married for like 8 or 9 days, this is actually the first time I'm like reminding myself about that. So I'm going to stay crazy. All right.
You have to, bro. You have to. And just like you said, man, about people just wanting to get a solid job, invest in their 401k, get the white picket fence, and just have that set schedule for the rest of their lives. That's boring, man. That's boring.
Yeah, so boring. So boring, man. So boring. And well, like, so what's your like, you're a little bit entrepreneur, a little bit family man, like kind of a combination of the two?
Yeah. So I put on different hats depending on what day it is. My wife and I have 5 kids, bro.
5 kids. I saw that. And I saw your kids riding around on, what was that, little cars or something on your Instagram? Those seem awesome. How old, what's like the oldest and what's the youngest out of the 5?
So our oldest is our daughter. Her name is Kira. She's 12 years old. 12. And then I have 3 sons in the middle, Jalen, Kellen, and Nolan. 10, 8, and 6. And then our youngest is another girl named, her name is Isla Jean. She is about to turn 3 years old next week.
12 to 3. Congrats on all those kids. That's great. And like, I always say I'm either going to have like 2 kids or I'm going to have like 7 kids. And either way, I want to get like a nanny or something. Like that must take up, how much has your life changed since having kids? I mean, I know the basic answer is like, let me guess, it's a lot of work, but you would never give it up because it's so rewarding. Is that essentially your answer?
It is. But then also like as an entrepreneur, it makes you push yourself to the limits and you reach different breakthroughs because you want to come through for your kids. And like I shared with you, I'm first generation here. I want the things I do today is going to help make it easier for my kids because they get a head start on things, So that's what drives me are these kids and my wife and my family to be a better man and to grow this business and to really invest and focus for these next 10 to 15 years so that I could be free. And at that point, I'll be 45 years old, 50 years old, and I can still enjoy my kids. I'll be strong enough. I'll have grandkids at that time. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
You want to retire then?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I'm 36
dude,
now.
I'm never going to retire.
What
about if you're bored to death?
You know what? Let me rephrase that. I guess retire from the active part of the business.
Okay.
But I still will be there managing. If my people need me, I'll be there. But I'll retire to the next phase to where I get to travel and get to spend time with my kids and get to enjoy them more. But you're right. I think I would be bored if I completely retired and stopped working because that's just not in me. I got to do something.
Yeah, that's the one. I think retirement, I know it's like a financial term because you put money away and then all that. I get that. I know you definitely get that. I understand it's a financial term, but I think it's like an outdated mindset for people. The financial term is one thing and that's a good system, but I don't know, man, 60, what's the retirement age? 65, 60?
65, 67.
That's a young little man. That's the way I look at 65. I'm planning on living to be 150. That's my goal.
Hey,
you do it?
You keep working out, doing those 5-minute miles, brother. You're going to get it.
It's a 5 minute now. I like that.
We'll
clip that out. We'll clip that out and say it's 5 minutes. No, it's 5:33. But yeah. And like, that's just also my mindset too. Cause I don't know, man. I just think 60's young. Like I look at the people running for president, they're all like 70 and they have energy. And I just don't want to retire, but I know I'm a little crazy. I guess I would need to go back and find the crazier you to see what you think about retirement. But I respect it.
Right.
And,
wait till you have kids, brother, and then we'll talk about this again.
See, that's what I'm prepping myself for, though. Because so when you go to work and you are motivated, your motivation is for, like, you just set up your family. Like I feel that, right? Like that's pretty common. I feel like mine's not yet because I don't really have one. My motivation is like to be cool or just to like to have fun and to enjoy what I'm doing. Honestly, sounds corny, but the most important thing in the world is being happy. And there's many, and there's, you know, it sounds corny, but it's true. Whoever dies the happiest had the best life. And happiness comes in so many different forms and so many different ways. I feel like 80% of adults, like their family is what makes them happy. And I definitely will get a lot from that if I ever am lucky enough to have one.
Yep.
But I'm also trying to still be like, kind of like playing the game still just for like the sake of it, just because I'm like, just like a dog still wanted to like go out there. And like that part's fun too. Just like you're trying to build a business. And so you
are a wild guy, Sean.
but that makes me happy too. That's what makes me happy now, and that's what drives me. And it will be curious to see how it changes. But it does sound fun. Something really random. The other day I was at a restaurant, and I'm not necessarily excited to have a kid who's like 0 years old and can't talk or anything like that. But this kid was maybe 7. I don't know ages that well, and he was walking out with his dad, and he said, "Hey Dad, what's gratuity?" And like, I think he was referencing, there was probably a sign that said like 7% gratuity. It was just a simple, dumb question that I was like, oh my God, I would love to explain to a 7-year-old what tips are at a restaurant. Like that sounds fun. Just like watching them go through like these stages of life where they like are learning and seeing how their personalities develop.
You're a teacher.
I think that part sounds fun. Teaching, right. And just like, you don't know what they're going to say all the time, right? So you have 5 kids, right?
Yeah.
I have a good question for you, and it's something that I'm really interested in. What do you think is more of important for the outcome of a kid? Do you think it's nature or nurture? Do you think the parenting or the way they were born more shapes their personality?
I think 100% parenting.
Really?
100%.
My mom says the opposite.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm open for discussion. That's just what I think. You know what I mean?
I never had kids, but what she said was, and then I want to hear what you think. What she said was, I just have one brother. And she's like, you guys were both pretty much parented the same way. And like, you just came out and you were one way, and your brother, I mean, we're pretty similar now, but like he was a little more whiny. I was a little more happy. She's like, I don't know if it was circumstances. It was very similar, but like, I could just tell that you guys were a certain way, like when you were born. And I have heard other people say that too. So why do you think that it's more parenting?
I think that's the beauty of life is there's never ever one right answer, right?
Definitely not.
Because there is a little bit of what is it? Nature?
Nature or nurture? Nurture, parenting, nature, the way you were born. Yeah.
I think parenting, because I really, really am a strong believer in, environment examples that kids see, right? So I make sure that I'm consistent with my talks to my kids about, what's right, what's wrong, how you should handle different situations. So I feel like that's me parenting, right? Actively parenting. And then that will allow them to better, what's the word I'm looking for? Adapt to their environment, right? So if I'm coaching them, then they hit that environment. It's like, oh, I remember what Dad said about something like this, right? So then that's how I feel parenting comes into play.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so if it's, it definitely comes into play. They both come into play.
Yeah.
It'd be curious to see, like, if you give the same general parenting tactics to all 5 of your kids, do you think they'll turn out to like all have the same job? They'll probably have some differences in what they enjoy doing, right? And I guess that's the nurture part.
Brother, the craziest thing is I'm already seeing that. Obviously, my 3-year-old, she's 2, she'll be 3 next week. She's still young. But from the 6-year-old to the 12-year-old, I can already see who's going to be an entrepreneur and who wants to go to school and get a good job. And I can already tell.
And that wasn't decided by the way you parented, right? That's more just like the nature part, right?
There you go, buddy. See, so yeah, you're right. There's a little bit of both, right?
It's one of the ultimate debates. It's like the chicken and the egg, like which came first. There's definitely no right answer. They both matter. But yeah, there's not something you did different to make one of them want to go to school and one of them want to be more of an entrepreneur.
Yep.
So if you were going to give your kids some entrepreneur advice, what do you think is like the top entrepreneur advice that has helped you, that you would give a young person, your kids? What would you say?
I think that leadership is the highest paid skill in the world, right? So self-development. We already have our kids, reading, different books. And also like when I'm doing things like this, like my son, he's right here. He's in the next room and he can hear what I'm saying. So I think that leadership, self-development is huge. And that's something that Patrick Bet-David preaches religiously to us as brokers is self-development. Because if you're not self-developing, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? Or you're settling and you're comfortable. So I always want my kids to challenge themselves and feed their brain, feed their minds.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a difference between like self-development means so many things and leadership is a specific thing. I think about that because like I said, I just fired one of my bigger employees. It was the biggest employee I ever hired. I paid him like 80 grand. He was an operations manager for my company and he was pretty good. He was pretty good. He had a lot of good skills and he did a good job of coming to work, working hard, figuring out some things. But there's a lot of stuff to manage over there and managing people. And I asked him to read this book, The 21 Laws of Leadership. And he just couldn't find the time to read it. And I just gave him some time. I told him we could go over a chapter a week. I reminded him about it a couple of times. And he just never like wanted to engage in that conversation about leadership. And it was one of the factors that ended up having me make my decision to move on. But leadership is kind of about like basically looking at things from like other people's point of view. Yep. Which how many people do you have like under you? Good. Like I know you said you and your wife have an agency. You got a couple people. Any? Just you two?
So our organization, it's nationwide. Zoom's been able to help us grow and expand nationwide. So active agents, we have about, I'd say 40 to 50 right now.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So how many? So that's interesting about Zoom. How many of them have you ever seen in person?
Shoot, that's the funny thing. So we have, besides out here in California, our other big state or city of influence is Salt Lake City, Utah. So we went out there, but some of the team members were a little bit wary of COVID, so we didn't get to see them in person. But I would say that 70% of those 40 to 50, we have not met in person.
Do you feel like that affects your ability to lead them by not seeing them in real life?
Absolutely. So another big thing that Patrick taught me was environment and culture is huge when you want to build a big organization.
Definitely. Absolutely.
So in the beginning, you're in the honeymoon phase where it's like, I'm getting good training. I'm loving it. And you're through Zoom. But if you haven't had that opportunity to build that bond in person,
right,
it's hard to create that culture and environment just strictly through Zoom. So
absolutely. So with PHP, there's like, I know there's Pat and then like some people build off of that. Like, so if the people that kind of answer to you, those 40 to 50 people, do they also get messages from Pat and stuff like that? Is it one thing that's, like, is he kind of help you shape your 50 people, or is that all you, or how does that work? Is it one big team or?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So we're one big team. We wear one jersey, PHP agency, but then it's like a chain of command. And that's another thing that I took from police work, asking the right questions and dealing with people. There's a chain of command. So you have Patrick, and then you have different field. Some are council members. Those are the highest level right underneath Patrick. And then you have your vice presidents, and then you have your brokers, which my wife and I are. Okay. So you don't get any direct messages from Pat in PHP sense unless you are at a VP level and up.
Gotcha.
Right? Because our VPs are the ones that guide the rest of us down here. But Pat is such a personable person to where if you're just a fan and you message on my Instagram, Pat will message you back. He's such a cool guy, and I love being under his leadership. He's a world-class leader. He's the one that sold me on the vision of PHP Agency. It was Patrick himself.
You've seen him? How many times have you like met him?
Maybe 15 to 20 times. We were just actually at his house, not his house, but my personal mentor. He just moved to Mission Viejo. That's like the rich area in Southern California.
Yeah, I know that area.
Lakeside house. We were all over there for a little get together. We had food and dinner, and Pat came down. I don't know if you've seen Pat's co-host on Valuetainment, Andrew Sosnick or something like that. The super cool guy.
I had him on the podcast.
Yeah, bro. He was there too. We were having dinner.
Sauce.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, bro. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Do you listen to their podcast?
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. I love it.
I like it too. I really do. And I don't listen to tons of podcasts. Like I like Joe Rogan, but I love Patrick Bet-David. You like Joe Rogan too?
Hell yeah.
And I genuinely listen to their podcast. I mean, sometimes I'll just pop into different clips on YouTube and stuff like that of podcasts I like, but I really like their podcast. I like the camaraderie they have with Sauce and Patrick Bet David. Like, does he like require you guys to listen to that? Or I mean, I'm assuming he doesn't force you to, but is everyone in PHP like know that he has a podcast?
Yeah, everyone knows, and nothing Patrick does, he doesn't require us like make it mandatory to do anything, but he just has that aura about him, you know, and we just know that this guy knows what he's doing. And it's like, hey, if we want to expand our business, let's follow the steps of what Patrick did because he gave us his wonderful platform. So just follow the leader, right?
Yeah, he's got a great story too, and
Absolutely.
he's the man. I can't, and he's really young too. Like,
He
he's
is.
40. He's 40, right?
No, he just turned 41
Like
or
something like
he's turning
that.
42 later this month.
All right, it's got a long way to go. Like you know how young I think that is. If I think 65 is young and spry,
Exactly.
so
Yep.
that's so cool. And I know he's from like Iran and everything. I know his story. I'm sure people listening know his story. And so you're first generation from Samoa.
Yes.
That's right, and that's
Yes.
from the Polynesia area. And it's like you don't really hear. I feel like that many immigration. You hear about immigrants from Europe, and I feel like I don't know what is the culture like, and what is like the political culture of the Polynesians. Like, is it all different based upon different areas? Like, I don't know. I don't know a lot about like the current events or the mindset of those areas. I mean, I just imagine like, I guess vacation-y type stuff because it's so
Yes.
beautiful there and a lot of people vacation there.
Yeah.
What's it like? What's it like in Samoa?
So Samoa, had the honor and privilege to go there back in 2011. It was my first time there and last time I've been there. Because, ironically enough, my grandparents on my dad's side, they both passed away in the same week.
Oh, geez.
So I was like, holy
Wow.
crap. My father passed away in 2009 and I wanted to be the representative for him and my family. So I flew out there in 2011 and honestly, bro, it's crazy. When you go to the city, you got the McDonald's, you got shops, like it looks cool. But then there's parts of Samoa, the islands, that literally look like it's like a third world country.
Dang.
It's crazy.
They speak English?
Yeah, a lot of them speak really good English.
What's the native language?
Samoan.
Samoan. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So then there's a Western Samoa, right? And then there's an American Samoa. So
Right.
yeah, so
American. Okay.
it's different, right? So in American Samoa, it's a lot more developed. It's crazy. Like the stat is like 70 to 80% of the youth go to the military after they graduate school.
The American military?
Yes.
So
Yep.
there must be some American, obviously it's called American Samoa.
Yeah.
What is the deal? Is like the government like fund a part of it, or how does that work? I'm always confused about like Puerto Rico and
Yeah.
the Virgin Islands and American Samoa. Like Hawaii's a state, very simple to understand. What do you know what the relationship is between America and American Samoa?
I honestly don't know, but I know that we have an embassy there. And the crazy thing is we are actually growing here in PHP so much that we're actually in the works of doing things or having the ability and capabilities to do business on the islands. And that wasn't something that was available
That's cool.
before. But our Polynesian community is growing so much that we're in talks to get things going out there. So it's super exciting. Very
That's
very
cool.
exciting.
That's really exciting. Do a lot of people, like I know your parents moved to America in the 80s. Do a lot of people from there want to move to America? Is that the goal of like almost everyone there and they just see who can get there? Or was your family more driven for the American dream, or what's that like?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. Where some, we're I guess, people are comfortable in their setting, like how I kind of talked about earlier, where it's like it's kind of tough to move because I'm used to this.
Right.
A lot of people that love that island lifestyle where time is so slow, but then the majority would love to come here and experience the American dream. They want to come here
if anyone wants to, is it a hard process? I'm
no,
always curious. I'm always curious about that. No, like if you
it's just
decide,
money.
okay, it's just money. If you decide you want to move to America, and you can do it, how long would it take you if you have the money and you decide you want to go? What's the immigration process like? Do you know?
Man, to be honest with you, I don't know, brother.
Like within a year? Do you think you could within a year?
Yeah, I would say about a year. Yeah, money is the biggest issue and the biggest hiccup because I've got family members who I don't really talk to on a daily basis, not really that much, but my mom has told me about them. and they have the money, they fly out here, boom, a year, 2 years later, they're citizens, and they can go out there and they can work. So it's the biggest hiccup is not like the visas or not, all of those realities. It's the money.
It's the money. And what do you need the money for?
Just to get your flight ticket out here, and then to build. Obviously, the Samoan culture, like you asked, like what are we about? It's all about family. It's all about family, respect. We have a very strong traditions. So pretty much if a family member from Samoa wants to move out here and build a life out here, they have someone here that is planting their flag that, owns a home or rents, somewhere, and they're going to stay with that person until they get on their feet, and then they can branch off and, chase the American dream.
That's cool. I love that. I'm like always so honored to just be American. I'm very proud to be American. I just love America. And I always love hearing those stories about, sometimes I'm like, am I just proud to be American because I had to say the national anthem when I was a kid? And am I just brainwashed? Like, is it just as good out there everywhere else? But when you hear stories about how people from so many different countries want to come to America, like I always get happy when I hear that, just because I think this is the best country, and I obviously am biased, but it's hands down. And is it just because of our laws? Is it because of our attitude? Is it because of our physical land and infrastructure? Like, what do you think makes America the best country?
I think it's a little bit of everything, but it's our system here where, we have the opportunity to be entrepreneurs. We don't have to be told and forced hey, you have to go do this. Like, we can do whatever we want because our system allows, if you're willing to work, like you're a workaholic, bro. I'm a workaholic. Yeah. Brandon's a workaholic, right? And instead of just working for someone to build their dream, we could sit here and we can build for ourselves. And that's what inspires me and makes me more grateful to be American, right? It's like, I want to come through to pay back my dues for this great country and what it affords us and allows us to do.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like the Peter that grew up in America, if you were the Peter that grew up in Samoa, and you had the same desires, you wouldn't be able to do that?
No way.
Like, why not? Why not?
There's no
culture, or there's just no, okay, you want to start a business selling bananas and everyone loves bananas. Why can't you just start growing them and building them and selling it, building stands, selling it for a low price, outselling the competition? Like, why can't you start a business there?
Because, man, everybody there, it's an island. So everybody has plants, vegetables in their backyard.
Their own bananas.
They're feeding themselves with it. Because,
what about clothes? You start a clothing shirt and everyone loves it. Like, why can't you do that there? Not enough people? Not enough people,
not enough money, circulating around there. It's just
just economy. Yeah.
That again, it just speaks to the value of America and what we offer.
It really does. Yeah. A lot of people are able to get jobs, and those jobs allow them to buy shirts and bananas. And then those shirts and bananas fund the entrepreneurs who then hire people. And that's capitalism. And it's so beautiful, man. I get a little tear to my eye just thinking about how great it is. Go. It's so great. And a lot of people in America, little spoiled brats that hate capitalism. I feel like the PHP, Pat's, he's definitely not. He's all about capitalism.
All about it.
And I see some of his traits in you a little bit, and I'm sure that's not a coincidence. But you ever have outside of the company interaction with somebody who's hates cops, hates America, hates capitalism?
Absolutely. It's funny because just on Twitter yesterday, some guy that I've met. Yeah, you're on my Twitter. We follow each other. He was talking about capitalism and how it's it's for greedy people, and it's this and that. He's like, you don't need money to help others. And I'm just like, look, man, I'm building a business. I'm a family man. I'm a husband and I'm a parent. I can't go out there and invest all my time into using my hands to go and, do what I got to do to help people. So how can I help people? I got to go make more money so I could donate, right? So
or hire.
Exactly, bro. So we were having
who's helped more, that guy or Bill Gates to the world?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. That's a mic drop right there. Hey, all we got to do is give examples of people who are doing big things, with their charities and with their donations. So I think a lot of people have that misconception that money is evil, but money is just a tool. That's what I was telling them. It's the person that uses how it's how they utilize that tool, right?
Yeah. I mean, capitalism is a little bit like founded upon greed, though. Like in a way. I
Yeah,
mean, in a way, and that's a fair argument. But also, who has helped the world more? Bill Gates or some guy doing absolutely nothing but knocking on doors? Obviously, Bill Gates. But also, the thing about greed is, yeah, it's a bad word, sure, but we're human beings. We're biologically wired
that's
to
right.
to want stuff. So sorry, I like. Who do I feed the most? I feed myself the most. Like you have to be. There's a little bit of selfishness in the world, and that's like the argument that people have against capitalism. But it's true. It is a little bit built on greed. And like Jeff Bezos, is he a good guy? Do you think Jeff Bezos is a good guy?
I mean, shoot, explain good, right? We all have a little bit of good
Exactly.
and bad.
Explain good. Yeah. I'm sure he has many charitable contributions and all that. But he's ultimately driven by like he's hungry to build the company and has provided a lot of good to the world, not even through charity, just through
Creating jobs, opportunities.
getting a goddamn thing to my house in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like that is talk about the COVID and the coronavirus and the shutdown. Like, well, imagine if people didn't have Amazon. So that's good. They provide it to the world right there in a very practical sense.
It is,
but yeah, it's fun to think about, and I like having those arguments sometimes with people who hate capitalism. I feel like capitalism always wins though, because when it comes back to no, let's tax all the rich people and like distribute it evenly. It's like, okay, all right, I can get behind that. But then since humans are biologically wired to be greedy, there's a system of human beings, and someone in there is going to screw that all up and either take it through corruption or, take the power advantage and slip that into their pocket. Like, goddamn humans, we're not perfect, but that system doesn't work well.
It doesn't, bro. So it comes down to this. If you have a big room of people like that are millionaires, right? Some are not going to donate, right? Some will, but that's the power behind it and that's why I feel that leadership is the most important thing in the world today, is because if we can go out there and influence the next wave, because these old school cats are going to do what they're going to do. If we can go and influence people the right way, I want to be able to pick and choose who I donate my money to. In a socialistic system, they just take money and they tax us, and it's like we don't know where it's going, right?
Yeah.
But
it'll probably be inefficient as well.
Exactly. I want to pick and choose who I give my money to once I make those big stacks, right?
Yeah. Like, do you have a certain amount of? Because I don't know. I don't really think about donating to charity that much. Like, I'm a good person. I want to do good for the world. I'm young. I'm 31. I'm just getting rolling in my business. Do you have a certain amount of money where in your head where then you'll start donating to charity? Like, I have no idea when it will be for me, but I know that 16 people have a job because of me, and we have hundreds of thousands of customers who they bought stuff from us. It means they wanted it. I mean, I'm not donating hearts or anything. Like, I'm selling clothing. I'm selling clothing, but we pitch a certain like lifestyle to our customers, and I feel like I do good for those people, and I feel like I want to build this up to like 100 employees. I want to provide opportunities for people and
see it.
But and I don't know, like I'm trying to get like this new $3 million building. I'm working on it. I'm going to find out if I get approved soon.
That's sick.
None of the part of the plan for that is actually giving to charity. And maybe that makes me a bad person. I don't know. I'm just thinking it through out loud, but what if I never give to charity? Does that make me evil?
No, I don't think that it makes you a bad person, bro. I just think that you're still building. And I think that's right. You're still building. I'm still building. So we first have to be able to feed ourselves and take care of ourselves before we can give to others. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Boom. That I think is such an amazing message. Say that again. I like the way you said it.
You can't pour from an empty cup. So we're still in our building stages, right?
You can't pour from an empty cup. That's your mic drop. I love that. I love that. Because so many people think they can. They're like, oh, this is a bad person. Oh, what the hell have you done?
Exactly.
You've done nothing. And you have you're not building anything that can ever do anything. All you could do is tweet or like,
whatever.
You can't
just opinions.
Yeah, exactly. And there's
like,
too
go do
much
something
of that.
And then come back and talk shit to me.
Yeah. Like, I've just been getting more accustomed to sometimes when I will be talking about politics with some people who might not know me as well, I might come off as like rude or mean, but it's just because I've thought about it so much and like, screw you, you're nothing. Like, sometimes I might need to explain it to more if someone doesn't know me that well, but it's just like, you don't know anything and you're not doing anything. And like, sorry that my opinions might be a little more. Here's the other thing that people might say. What would be your rebuttal to this? So in a capitalist society, the strongest and the smartest people will make the most money. And if somebody is not as smart, not as hungry, then they will be poor. And that's not fair. What do you say to that?
Well, I think it all has to do, again, with what we talked about, is self-development. If you're not as strong or not as smart as someone, you can fix that. But you have to be intentional with it, right? If it matters that much, you got to go and invest the time. Nobody's going to give you anything. And that's what
but what if they're learning disabled?
Okay, well, see, that's different. That's when they need guys like us to donate. When we need to get out of the building phase, right? And get
See, no, I just shamed you. I just shamed you into changing your answer. Because that's what they say. That's an example of something. They'll be like, well, what if this? What if this? What if this? And they keep shaming you until you say what they want them to say. I just worked on you.
If someone has a learning disability, that's different, bro. Like, that's,
I mean, there's like a wide range of learning disabilities, though. Like, I don't know, there's different extents of it, but some people that have a learning disability, I think one of the worst things you could do is at 18 years old, tell them that they're never going to make money for themselves. You're never going to do anything. You are only going to be successful if people give to you, and you can never provide value to the world. I don't think that's a good thing to tell someone.
No, it's not. It's not. You're enabling someone as opposed to empowering them, right? So, yeah, sometimes you got to give people tough love. There's so many sensitive people out there, and it's very annoying to deal with, but at the same time, it's a reality that, hey, they're going to be out there, right? So we got to get better at inspiring them, figuring out ways to inspire them, figuring out ways to empower them. And at the end of the day, bro,
you can't be lazy.
Everything. Yeah, you can't be lazy.
And I mean, and for the people who might have a learning disability that's like really really bad or something.
That's
like
what
that.
I'm talking about.
Yes, for those, there is a social net. Like you could argue you might want it to be better, but there is a social net for people like that, and that's good. There should be something like that. Yeah. But I like the American attitude of just you can't be lazy. You can't. Yeah, and it's not really just about somebody who might be a little naturally more lazy, just telling them you're bad because you're lazy. Also, if you push somebody to strive for something better, that will make them happier. I think human beings are all wired to get their happiness from little bits of achievement and little bit of growing and achieving. I don't know. Those are two different things. Let's not say achieving. Let's just say growing. Okay. And responsibility. Those are biologically wired into making human beings happy. And I want those people to be happy. And if you allow them to be lazy and never do anything, it might be on a smaller scale. They might not start the next Amazon. They might not start a business. They might not become super rich and make six figures. They might make $40,000 a year of their life and get by, but there is happiness in there to be had. And if you don't even allow them to get to that level, then that takes away their happiness, and that's not the good life to live for a human being.
Of course, bro. You know what I read online, I think it was sometime last week or maybe a couple of weeks ago, and it really made me rethink things, and it was like this. People aren't lazy. They just haven't found something that they're willing to work for yet. And that goes in line with what you just said.
Absolutely.
We got to help them find that. Some people are self-motivated, like guys like us, like Brandon, right? We're self-motivated. Patrick and David, we're self-motivated. But other people are not like that. So our leadership will bring that out of them.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, it might not even be an entrepreneur, but just you got to do something. So figure out what you like, figure out a way that you can monetize it, and just you got to do something. You got to do something with your life. And if everyone understands that, figures it out, and then doesn't complain about the results. Yes, Jeff Bezos has more money than you. You know how hard that guy works. You know how smart he is. You know all the things he's accomplished. You know, like all the challenges he's overcome. Like, yeah, Jeff Bezos gets to have more money than you, and he gets to have more luxuries than you do. But if you don't complain, then you could have a great life.
Yeah, you know, it comes from a place of gratitude, because I have buddies still to this day that I don't inspire to do that they don't want to do what I do, right? They're content with working their 9 to 5, coming home, cracking back a few beers, watching some sports, and going to sleep. That's happiness to them. And I don't bother or
as long as you're happy.
Yes, hey, bro, you're happy with that? Dude, that's awesome. What can I do for you as a friend? Like, we could still hang out here and there, grab some lunch, but you do you, I'll do me. As long as you're safe and healthy, that's all that matters to me.
Boom. Happiness is all that matters. So you're a Lakers fan, right?
Die hard, buddy. Die
All
hard.
right.
We're one win
So
away.
are you one of the Laker fans? Well, I'm gonna guess since you're from the area, I might know the answer to this. But I feel like there's two kinds of Laker fans. There's the Laker fans that have always been Laker fans, and then there's Laker fans who are LeBron fans.
Mm.
I'm actually the second. I want the Lakers to win. I'm a LeBron fan. I don't have a favorite NBA team. I am a non-shameful, just fan of the NBA, and I don't have a team. So I just kind of follow the league around. I'm a player guy, kind of. I just don't have a squad.
There you go.
Are you a lifelong Lakers fan?
Lifelong Lakers fan. My family members were Laker fans, so that's when I grew up. The first time I remember like really being a Laker fan serious was in 1991 when we went up against Jordan and we lost that finals.
I was gonna ask what your first memory was.
I hated Michael Jordan ever since.
I actually just relived that through watching that Michael Jordan documentary. Did you get a chance to see that?
Dude, that show is awesome, man.
I couldn't watch it before bed because I would get too fired up. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go out of like Jordan is an intense, crazy motherfucker.
Ultra competitive.
It's funny. I want to talk about LeBron, but Jordan and Kobe. Essentially, I think they're essentially identical.
Yeah.
Want to know what I think is so interesting? And I think I saw one of your posts, so you probably thought about this before. 6 rings for Jordan, 5 rings for Kobe, 11 rings, 1 coach. Like, isn't that weird? Isn't that interesting? That same guy, Phil Jackson, coached all 11 of those championships between those 2 guys who were great and were very similar. Don't you think that Jordan and Kobe are almost identical?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Kobe learned from Jordan. You could tell he watched his tapes. He didn't wake up like that, right?
Right.
He practiced that fadeaway.
Same height, same moves, but more importantly, that same killer mentality. Like, that's it's something for fans to admire, especially of sports where it's all about wins and losses. But I bet you they're assholes in a lot of ways, you know? They're nasty. They're killers. They're nasty. And I like that part about them. But identical and obviously great careers, amazing guys. R.I.P. Kobe. Still can't believe that was this year. Doesn't that seem like a million years ago?
It did. You know, it feels like it's such a distant memory, but it's still fresh, you know?
It's crazy. But LeBron, right? So what's your feelings on LeBron?
It's funny that you said that, bro, because it's not that I never respected LeBron or liked him. I just never liked his fans because they were always like, he's our Kobe. He passed Kobe a long time ago. He's better than Jordan. And I'm like, Dave, pump your brakes a little, man. Let's talk about this finals. Let's talk about this. But you know what? I'll tell you this, bro. When you put on that Laker gold and purple and gold jersey, you are now family, and I'm going to root for you like I never hated you before. So I love LeBron.
All right, that's fair. I mean, you got to root for him, yeah. I don't even think the conversation's that interesting about like which one's better because we'll see or anything like that. I think the conversation is interesting how different they are because if we can put Jordan and Kobe in one thing, which we just discussed, LeBron is so different. First of all, a different player on the court. And second of all, different type of leader and a different like type of person like off the court too. Yeah. He is just one thing I like about him is he's carving his own path. I mean, assuming this goes down, which I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the Lakers.
It's going down, buddy. It's going down.
I mean, it's going down. That'll be 3 rings, 3 different teams. That's crazy. Well, it'll be 4 rings, right? 4 rings but 3 different teams. Like that is so unique. And the way that he's moved teams is unique. I like someone who shapes their own path. And he is just so special on the court.
He's one of one.
He's one of one. He really is. And it's hard to even describe because someone who might not understand the NBA that well, I'm a big NBA fan. I really am. I love basketball. It's not just his athleticism or there's something about him that on the court, his basketball IQ and his leadership is spectacular. It's unexplainable.
Yep.
Combine that with the fact that never gets injured, the durability.
Dude, that's crazy, bro.
Isn't that crazy?
Because it's something I always think about. Like, dude, this guy never suffered an injury. Kobe had, a career-ending injury pretty much for the most part.
Yeah, the Achilles.
Jordan broke his leg, I believe it was, maybe
Early.
like third year in. So yeah,
Yeah.
dude, LeBron has never suffered an injury.
Yeah. I think didn't he at the end of last year sit out at the end for a little something? But I think that was more maybe to get a draft pick or
Load management.
Like, you're just
Load
waiting to get AD. Right. But it is incredible. And he does not seem like Kobe hit a wall. It was wild to watch. I mean, he had a great ending there with the 60 points, but I cannot see LeBron hitting that wall in the next 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. Like, I don't know, maybe 5 years.
Especially with AD, it's going to prolong his career. Anthony Davis.
Yeah. I mean, I think he could go, I don't know. It's just the middle of his career. I mean, 35 is old for a professional athlete.
Yeah, it is.
It's very old for a professional athlete. There is no NFL running back, I don't think that's ever made it to like 32 or 31. Like, it is 35 is old. He is still the most dominant player out there. And I just can't. When people ask about who do you think is the best player of all time, my first answer is let's wait till the conversation's over, because I think he's still got a long career left.
He does, bro. He does, and he's such a physical specimen where, you know, naturally when players get a little bit older, they tend to play a little bit more in the post. And LeBron has the body to do it, where we could just slide him over to the forward position instead of playing small forward on the wing, and he could play another 4 to 5 years. And especially with Anthony Davis, and depending on who we can surround LeBron and AD with going forward, bro, he could play until he's like Tom Brady at 43 years old. Who knows?
Dude, I don't think anyone noticed how stacked the Lakers are. I think they're stacked, dude. Playoff Rondo. And everyone, and they got Dwight Howard. Has JaVale McGee even been getting any minutes in the finals?
Nope. I haven't. No, he hasn't been playing.
I don't think he's played at all. And then they got the Morris brother, and they got a bald white guy. What's his name? Caruso. And they got Casey. They got KCP. Dude, they're stacked. They have Kuzma. They're stacked. They have a great team.
Keep me coming back.
Interesting. I have an interesting conversation on this point about LeBron's legacy. So we just discussed it a little bit, and I think that one of the most amazing parts about Jordan's legacy was the story of his career, the baseball, and specifically the movie Space Jam, right?
Yeah.
The movie Space Jam was, you've seen it, right? Have you seen Space Jam? Like everyone, right? Everyone
loved it.
Everyone knows Space Jam. It's part of culture. It's part of history. It's more than a movie, honestly. And the way that it played out, three titles, baseball, Space Jam. Then Space Jam came out. The end of Space Jam is him wearing 45 back playing. And it fit the story of why did he come back from baseball? Well, because of the Looney Tunes. And he went down there and bonded with the Looney Tunes. That's why he came back from baseball, from the Looney Tunes. Exactly. Then he went on to win 3 more titles. So that movie, it's just incredible part of his legacy. And now, Space Jam 2 is coming out with LeBron.
Yep.
And LeBron has the storybook type of career where this movie could possibly be just as big of a magical storybook, Hollywood, legacy building thing.
It will be.
What do you think the plot is going to be?
Man, it's crazy how you just put that, because I never thought about Space Jam being like that bridge to the second part of Jordan's career. So just like you said now, Space Jam 2 is going to be the bridge to LeBron's second half, but it's crazy because he's been in the league for 17 years already. So is he going to give us another 5 to 10? Like, man, it's crazy, bro.
It's such a crazy part, an important part of Jordan's legacy. Well, I think I know LeBron wants it to be an amazing part of his legacy. It's funny. Sorry. So I actually been thinking about this a little bit, and I have like a loose prediction of what I think Space Jam 2 is going to be. And as far as I know, there has been absolutely 0 previews. There has been one release that showed what the jerseys are going to look like. Yeah. And I think the cast is released. I think it's Klay Thomas, Chris Paul, Anthony Davis. So we know the cast. We know what the jerseys are going to look like. We know it's coming out. But there is no public information about what the plot is going to be. So I'm here predicting it first. All right. So I'm going to say the movie starts off, and I think he might be just starting with the Lakers or maybe still in Cleveland, but he's just going to be like getting to LA. And I'm thinking something like he's on a bus and he's looking out and maybe there's going to be like the California fires or like protests or something. You know, LeBron might want to bring social activism into it in some way. Now, I don't know if Holly
thought into this.
I've been thinking about it a little bit because I don't think enough people have been talking about what's going to be the plot of Space Jam 2 with all of the legacy conversation with LeBron. All right, so then he's going to go down to Looney Tune Land to play the game. And here's how I think he's going to get sucked down to Looney Tune Land. You know, on social media, he was always doing, before the bubble, when he was with his family, he would always go like Taco Tuesday. You ever see him doing that? He would do that like every Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. I think that was branding for the spot in Space Jam where he is with his family. He's eating Taco Tuesday. He goes into the kitchen and he gets sucked down like a margarita straw into Looney Tune Land. Just like Michael Jordan got sucked down the golf hole. Golf was kind of part of Michael Jordan's brand. He was known as a golfer and a gambler. I think LeBron has been trying to make Taco Tuesday part of his brand so he can bring it into the movie to get sucked down the straw into Looney Tune Land. Now, today's Wednesday, the finals. So next Tuesday, say the finals are over and LeBron's back home with his family. If you see him on Instagram yelling Taco Tuesday, you think of me and you know that he's branding for the movie.
I'm always going to tie that to you.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm plot predicting here. So then he's going to go down to Looney Tune Land, and I think it'll be interesting to see, and I'm going to predict that it's going to be the same bad guy. That short, fat guy with a cigar. I think it's going to be the same guy, right? So it could be another bad guy, but I think it's going to be the same guy. And then, obviously, like, the guys are going to steal the skills, and they're going to be similar. Like, it was Sean Bradley and Larry Johnson, Charles Barkley, Muggsy Bogues. Just like it's going to be similar to that with the players that they have now. They're going to play, and they'll win with a bunch of I wonder if they'll do LeBron's secret stuff, just like they did Michael's secret stuff. And then I think that maybe something to do with, like, the California fires. Maybe the California fires are set by the bad guy from the Monstars, and the deal is, like, if we win, you have to like end all the social unrest and all the fires in California. So LeBron comes back to LA as a hero and then plays. They'll probably like blend this because in aging they'll want it to look better. But his first season per se with the Lakers, they go on to win the championship, and I think that they are going to. Jordan, they never put the championship in the movie. They just had him number 45, and they had him go off, and then he did win 3 championships after. I think the movie's going to end with him holding up the trophy of winning the title with the Lakers. And I think that'll be different than the first Space Jam, because I think one of the reasons the plot has not been leaked or talked about is because they're waiting to see if he was going to win this one to make the winning the championship as part of the plot and part of the storyline. So that's my, like, kind of vague prediction. My one specific thing is he gets sucked down the straw into Looney Tune Land. But I don't know. That's what I think.
Dude, that's crazy, bro. And you're right. It makes too much sense. That's why they haven't leaked anything, because they're waiting to see if we win the championship.
Right.
Which of course we are. We are going to win it.
Which of course they are. And right. There's no chance the Heat come back. They're going to win. Maybe the Heat sneak another game. And you got to give the Heat some credit. They are a well-coached, hard-fighting, play-every-play team. The Lakers are just way better.
Yeah, bunch of pit bulls, but yeah, they're up against a team that's fighting for fate and destiny to get it done, not just for their own legacies, but man, what a ending to 2020 where Kobe passes away and Lakers win their championship 10 years later. You know,
dang, like that was pretty cool. Fate. What was the one game? It was something where the score was like Kobe's number 24-8 or something like that. I mean, that was okay. It was 8-24. It was August 24th, right? And the score was 24-8.
Nope.
That's pretty cool, man.
LeBron just scored our 81st point. It was like a layup or something. I was like, dude, do you believe in numerology?
I don't necessarily know what that is, but it sounds like something I do not believe in.
Yeah, I never heard of it until Kobe passed away, but it's just something about numbers. I haven't really looked into it, but someone was posting on Twitter like, yeah, you know, Kobe passed away on this day at this time because of this and this and this. And that's why all these numbers keep popping up. 8:24 left on the clock. LeBron scores the 81st point on 8:24. So it's just a lot about numbers and things not being a coincidence.
I
So
think
they're
it's a
saying
I think it's a big fat coincidence.
I do too. I do too.
Personally, do you believe in like zodiac signs?
No,
Me neither.
no, I
I'm
don't.
like, I pretty much think like the whole world is just a bunch of random stuff flying around. And that's why like people say everything happens for a reason. I don't believe that either. And I actually think that is a more positive message not to believe in that. It's like, go shape your world how you want it to be rather than, oh, well, it doesn't matter what I do. Everything's just happening to me.
Exactly. Like people kick their feet up and they're like, man, why, dude, how come you're not getting to work? How come you're not doing this? Well, because I envision that, on this date at this time, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to win the lotto. Right. So goes back to some of the lazy. And bro, we're talking about not believing in zodiac. And my wife's sitting over here. She's like, she believes in that stuff, man. And
A lot of people do. A lot of people do. And that might make a little bit more sense than numerology or whatever the hell that was. Just because, I don't know, like, if you're born at a certain time of year, like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I was just trying to be nice to your wife. I will say though, a lot of people are really serious about that stuff. And some people that I know that aren't wacky in other ways, like really go by that stuff. And I just noticed more smart people believe in that than like other stuff. So maybe they're onto something, but I don't know. I don't believe in it. It's just too much to keep track of. And I just think everything's kind of random, and there's a sad interpretation of that nothing matters. But I like to interpret that positively, that the world can be shaped the way that you make it, and that's what makes me so energetic and so excited about the world.
Because you can't factor in decisions that we make on a fly. Like, hey, you know what? I was supposed to do this, but I'm going to do this today. You know what I mean? How can you factor all those things in? Like you said, that's why I believe too that we shape our reality and what happens to us.
Absolutely, and like. I feel like you've probably said at some point, everything happens for a reason. I feel like people say that a lot. It's just like it's something to say when you don't know what to say. If someone's like, oh man, like I just got fired and, like I missed the bus and I'm just you'd be like, if you're just trying to make that person feel better, you just say, oh, everything happens for a reason. Like, but
yeah, you're right.
You're just saying it because you don't know what else to say.
Or make yourself feel better, right?
Right. And I'll just be like, oh man, that sucks. Like I try to phrase it differently. I try to say, man, that sucks, but I have faith in you that everything is going to work out, that you'll make everything work out. I try to not like lazily say that phrase because I really don't like it. And
see, now I'm going to catch myself now since you just told me.
It's a very common phrase. Everything happens for a reason. Yep. And it's an insane. Everything happens for a reason. Like I walk out the door, I trip, spill my coffee. Like there was a reason for that. Like no, there's no reason. I just spilled my coffee. Like there's no reason. Like imagine if there was like a master plan and it was like, all right, so he's gonna spill his coffee. So in 40 years from now, he won't spill his coffee on this day when he meets his new best friend or something like, or he'll meet his wife because he forgot to turn off the TV, so he had to go back home. Then he ended up getting in a car crash, and that's how he met his wife. I don't know, man. It's a little out there.
You take it a day by a time, right, bro? A day by day.
Exactly. And well, that doesn't mean don't plan ahead. You can plan ahead, but you also got to be ready to deal with things that happen that you can't expect.
Yep.
That's there's a big difference, I think, between people who plan, and I like planning. I think it's smart to plan. I think you should have goals, but if you sit there. And this was actually another thing that guy that I fired was not great at. He was so obsessed over things on paper and like plans and like what we're going to do and how it's going to come out and how does it look on a spreadsheet. I like that stuff. It's important. You can get a lot of data running a company, breaking things down, seeing where you can find percentages of stuff. But ultimately, like if we need it to not tell someone to come in the next day because there wasn't enough stuff to ship, he wanted to be able to see it from a spreadsheet. And I was like, well, just go look. Like, just go kind of look over there and like look around and like, and think about like, you gotta think too. You have to think and you have to be ready to adapt and adjust. And if you're not good on the fly, it limits you. And I think like some people, I honestly think Trump's like this. I think that he doesn't really plan a lot, but I think that when things happen, he's good at kind of like pivoting real quick. And like, I think that's interesting that he got the coronavirus. I do not think that he planned to get it. But I think that he's turning it into a positive almost. And it's funny because I don't think that was a plan of his. Some people think he's like 5 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead. I don't really think he is. Like, I think that if he didn't get it, he would have been like, look how strong I am. I didn't get it. And now that he got it, I think he's going to be like, look how strong I overcame it. And now I know what it's like to get it. So like, that's an advantage for me over someone who doesn't have it. It's like, I don't think he thought about that like 6 days ago. And now I think he's thinking about that. And it just is an example. And he actually wrote about that in his book, The Art of the Deal. He's like, I just kind of let things come to me and then I adapt and adjust. And it's definitely a skill. And it takes a little bit of talent.
Being able to play loose. Yeah. And be ready.
Play loose. And it takes a lot of confidence and a lot of skill and a lot of trust in your abilities.
Absolutely.
And not everyone maybe has that. So those people might have to plan ahead a little more. But the more you plan ahead and get good, the more skill you gain. And then if you keep that cool, loose attitude, which I'm trying to keep, then you can really do great things in life.
You got it already.
That's something he has too. Like he's just like, he keeps a cool, like loose attitude as he got older. And definitely that's a reason for people to get him and rip on him and make fun of him. And but I like that. I think that is a good. I think Patrick Bet-David's like a little bit like that, but he's also a little more like religious family man, a little more like structured a little bit. But it's just fun to think about, man.
It is. It really is, brother. And like coming on this podcast, coming on the show, I was like, what to expect? And I'm just like, you know what? Just sit there, play loose, and whatever it goes, just flow with it. Right?
Is this podcast what you expected?
Absolutely, man. I love you. I love your energy. Like it's cool. It's just like we're two guys at a bar talking, like just freely.
Exactly. Yeah, I've had this is episode 60. What is this, Brandon? 64 of my podcast, and it's developed. I've done one a week, so I've been doing it for about a year. And my first like 20, I maybe had one guest, but I was kind of doing it by myself, and I like that. But it becomes like an essay because I know what I'm going to say, and nothing's going to happen so I almost have to plan out the whole thing in advance if it's by myself, because I could not plan it and wing it, but then nothing is coming in to interrupt me. So it's basically an essay form. And then I enjoy having the guests. And like with Pat, I was really prepped because I had a time limit and I wanted to make sure I got a lot of value out of it. And I had like some questions planned, some cadences planned for how to transition. And then there's this guy, Brad Lee, who's a pretty big guy. And I kind of took the same, Brad Lee? I had him on my podcast too. Went terribly, right? It went terribly. One thing was we had a little bit of microphone issues. Like he didn't have a microphone and like we couldn't hear each other that well. I had to resend him a Zoom link. So it didn't get off to a good start. But also I had a little bit of my cadences prepped and my questions prepped where that when it went in a different direction, I wasn't as prepared. And I learned from it, and that was not one of my good podcasts. With Pat, everything went great, and it was an awesome podcast.
I watched it.
I mean, you watched it? You think it was good?
It was good, bro. It was really good.
We meshed. And with someone like you, who, no offense, is not as famous as Pat, I enjoy these because I very little plan for this one, and sometimes it turns out to be some of the best podcasts because
I'm having a great time.
Yeah, it's just fun and it's just hanging loose and. I'm curious to see. I was thinking maybe when I get to the 70s of my podcast, because I always said I'm starting this podcast and I'm going to do 100 episodes, and I'm going to reevaluate my life and whether I keep doing this whenever I get to 100.
I hope you keep going, bro.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not even thinking. I'm just going to get to 100 and then I'm going to think. But I was thinking maybe in the 70s I might go back to some like solo ones or something like that. But this has been fun, right?
It's been a lot of fun, bro. Hey, can I ask you something?
Absolutely.
What are you doing to get, like the Patrick Bet-Davids, the Brad Lees? Because those are huge names, bro. That's why when I was like, wow, you guys want me to come on the show, like it's a great honor. But at the same time, like, what are you doing?
So I don't know, man. If you want to share, you don't have to. No, I'll share. I'm transparent about everything. So I'll tell you how I got Pat. I reached out to him. And he has like a website. It's like contact me or something like that. I filled out the form. And basically it was like buy like 20 of the books, his new book. And like someone else got back to me and we'll consider it. Was it Kai? Kai, I guess. I don't even know who it was at the time. We'll consider it. So I was like, oh shit. So I took a risk and I bought the books and I might do like a giveaway with them. And I mean, it was basically an investment into my podcast. And I was like, all right, we'll see what happens with this. I don't know. I was like, I might just be getting scammed here. And I ended up, I took a risk for sure. And I ended up hearing back from him. And I was like, the day that I had scheduled to talk to him, I was like, I don't believe that I'm going to be talking to him until I see his face. And someone else got it set up, and then he rolled in on his chair, and I was like, yo, and it was really, it was like unreal to have him. So that's kind of how I got him. I guess I kind of paid in a way. And then everyone else, he's the only one that I did that for. I mean, I was trying to get like Damon John from Shark Tank and a couple other people. And I was trying to be like, hey, I'll buy some books. Like I was trying to like do something like that. Where it's not just straight up like prostitution, like I'll pay. Like I was trying to, and with Brad Lee, like I feel like sometimes Brandon does a lot of my reaching out, which is a great help for me because I'm running my company too, and the fact that Brandon's focused on it, and sometimes we definitely want the top entrepreneurs if we can get them. And that's one goal. The other goal is we had like a 3D printing person on because I was interested in the topic of 3D printing. So I will look for like specific fields that I'm interested in and want to have a conversation about. Right now we're looking for like someone big in the esports field because I think it's an interesting conversation topic. So we can look for people that have followings in certain niches that I'm interested in talking about. And then other people kind of like your area is just, I think Brandon saw you and Patrick Bet David and Sauce at that thing, and he followed you, and he was like, this could be a good person to just come on and just wing it with. And like you're in that category of people who we just randomly kind of connect with, and we DM, they DM back, we set a time. So those are kind of like the three categories of big names who we really pursue, people in specific fields that I'm interested in. We had someone for YouTube automation, which I thought was an interesting topic. And then just kind of people like you who are entrepreneurs, who would just be cool to kind of come on and wing it with. And some people like that I've built bonds with. I have a Tesla. I have an electric car. So we had this electric car person on named Alex Guberman. And the first time he came on, we talked about electric cars, but we kind of built like a little bit of a bond. And now he came on again recently, and we just shoot the shit. We talked about all kinds of stuff, a little bit about electric cars, a little bit about California, a little bit about politics, a little bit about his dating life. And it turned out to be some like great clips and great content. So it's honestly kind of like I heard on Joe Rogan say that he doesn't know who his next 4 or 5 guests are going to be. He might know the next 2 or something, but we're kind of just winging it. And we're kind of just like, hey, we're doing some podcasts this week. Let's get some people. And that's the strategy, kind of like we talked about as far as just being loose, being ready to go. And it's fun. It's fun, man. Like I just had fun, and I didn't really prep for this. I just knew a little bit about you, went through your Instagram. But it's a fun game, and we've been taking clips out of the podcast now to try to for people who might not listen to this whole hour and a half, they might pull out some stuff that we talked about.
Exactly. Dude, that's awesome, man. I'm proud of what you guys have done, how far you're going to go, man. I see you guys, man. You guys are going to do some big things. And if I could suggest someone, I'm telling you, money smart guy, Matt Sapaula, he's not going to be he's not going to be someone like me. He's in a category up here too. So I don't know what he's going to require to come on your guys' show, but he's the man, bro. He's super humble, a hell of a leader, and I would love to see him on your guys' podcast.
Love it. All right, Brandon shaked his head back there like he almost already knew about that or already been pursuing him. So awesome. That's a great suggestion. All right. So why don't you leave everyone with a little bit about yourself, where to follow you, a message. What do you want your final words to be here?
Of course, man. So, you guys obviously got to this point. You guys, get to the end of the interview. Follow me on Instagram. I don't have Facebook yet, but I'm working on getting it. I know I should get it done. But Legends Endure _. And if you are interested in learning more about financial services, retirement, life insurance, annuities, 401k rollovers, all that good stuff, give me a follow, hit up Sean. Maybe Sean can get in contact with me, and we'll see what we can do. Appreciate you guys so much, Sean and Brandon. It was an honor. I had a lot of fun. This was my first time, and you guys made me feel at home. So I really appreciate that. I hope we can continue to build this bond.
Boom. Peter Krause, you look very professional, by the way. The microphone, the backdrop. You got a great voice. You the man. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Thank you, guys. Have a great one.
Have you ever heard a better podcast in your entire life? Take that, Joe Rogan. Best podcast you've ever heard. Get more podcasts right here and subscribe to the show too while you're at it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you. Honestly, I love you.